This is the title to a 1990s movie called Hard to Kill. It stars Steven Seagal. He played Mason Storm, the movie's protagonist and possibly a warning to us. Steven Seagal's character was hard to unalive, unlike me, easy to unalive. I made this video to prove it. Aside from being a big screen action movie star, Steven Seagal was a real life reserve deputy chief for the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office, a volunteer position, and possibly a propagandist role. Him using members from his PR team confirmed this. Seagal eventually had SA issues. The lawsuit against him was eventually dismissed. No one knows if he settled. It forced him to resign. Here are public documents that got me marked for death. The false charges invented by corrupt police were eventually refused. Obeying unlawful orders by unidentified males makes you easy to unalive, right, Officer Stanley?
Yep. Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Step out. Step out. Step out. Step out.
Me not knowing surveillance could be weaponized made me easy to unalive. Asking police not to follow me and complying with their unlawful orders to get the fuck out of here made me easy to unalive. Here's me on a bike complying with the get the fuck out of here order I was given. Yeah, I raised my arm. I was making sure the cop didn't shoot me. Then I let him tackle me. Easy to unalive. Should have gone around the car on the sidewalk. Those false charges were eventually refused too. Me trusting a corrupt criminal enterprise to file a report made me easy to unalive. I survived this assassination attempt but was forcibly disappeared for 2 weeks. In the Hard to Kill movie, Mason Storm Seagal's character was set up by dirty cops. You can pause to read the cause, the betrayal, the hit, the cover-up, and the survival. The previous 3 video clips document my 3 arbitrary arrests by dirty cops. Consequences of arbitrary arrest include violations of fundamental rights, physical and mental abuse, suppression of survivors, devastating personal consequences, long-term psychological impact. Arbitrary detention is not merely an inconvenience, but a grave violation that can have life-altering impacts on the victim and their family. Arbitrary arrest can and frequently do lead to forced exile. So I was forced into exile when I caught my neighbor surreptitiously entering my residence while I showered. After 6 months in exile, I decided to return to the U.S. to speak with an attorney and work. Unfortunately, I was still being targeted and stalked with harassment. I chose to leave after 4 days of being sleep deprived and tried to get the first ride out of New Orleans on Saturday. Due to all my phone chargers being stolen, this was the earliest flight I was able to book out of New Orleans. My flight had a 1-hour layover in Houston, Texas. This is how the layover went. Can you tell me why I'm being detained again?
Sir, you got a complaint that some other passengers here talking to yourself, saying certain things, made him uncomfortable. You recall that?
No, sir, but thank you. I do now, so thank you. That is a completely false statement made by Officer Moore. The complainant, Jasmine Michaela, documented on the HPD police report, is a Southwest airline employee. She used to be a flight attendant. She's making her way up the corporate ladder somehow. Let's play it back again.
You got a complaint that some other passengers here talking to yourself, saying certain things, made him uncomfortable.
Furthermore, radio systems are the primary official on-scene coordination used by police. Officers may use phones for confidential one-on-one conversations that should not be heard on the open radio channels. So why is Officer Moore lying to me and using his phone to have his secret conversations? I was eventually disappeared for 3 weeks. This Facebook live stream probably saved my life. I made a previous video that documents my 4th arbitrary arrest that precisely documents this whole incident. When you're a target, nobody tells you it's a secret and makes you easy to unalive. Being a target often means you've been put under surveillance. Surveillance is used to create a psychological profile on the unwitting target. Confidential human sources can be weaponized to set the target up. While I was waiting to find out what HPD was going to do with me, the 2 officers were talking under their breath. Officer Moore referenced a song I used to play daily to my neighbors who had me under surveillance. I played it to remind them how I survived the 7th World Warlord and how to do the world a favor by implementing Operation Jump Out a Tree.
What did you say, sir?
I think that was one. What's your more Officer Moore and Gwen? So I'm being detained and I'll go on my flight from the Warlord.
itching the violence, you itching the murder, itching the murk 'em. You know what I gotta say, kill them all and get locked away. Kill yourself and just in this pain, you gon' burn to hell anyway. Fuck the preachers and what they say, quit that A to the K and then let it spray. Quit that max and just go insane. Grab that bitch, fuck 'em once and don't ever come. Get that money, then you say fuck 'em, we bought. They don't want you to win, just always fall. But I'm touring for spring, summer, in the fall. Wake up and pop me a Adderall. Wake up and pop me 2 Adderall. Got the sticks and we gon' let the ladder fall. Back in New Orleans, back in the rap trap, I was storming in the springtimes. Every morning the storm like a bathtub, a lower plug with the cord and looking gorgeous with light and stripes. Don't let the horn, bitch, I'm recording. Red light, Ruby with a groupie when he touring in the forward. But when he in the 7th, the lonely Lord is reborn into his final form. All star like a red light, lead pipe. Bashing my skull, smoke a rock, a crack glass in my gallbladder, cock it back headlights. Eye contact very important when he driving around in the storm, riding in the Corvette in the 7th War with the 7th Warlord.
So here's how I survived the 7th War Warlord. I didn't make eye contact and gave him as little surface area as possible to shoot at. A man was fatally shot in the Treme neighborhood early Sunday morning. Police found the victim lying on the sidewalk near St. Anne and Galvez Street about 3:50 a.m. Guess who was 5 seconds ahead of that man dead on the sidewalk? I was. Check the timeline. He was on a bike. His bike got stolen. I was in the 7th Ward at Club Caribbean's reggae night. At 3:24 a.m. I began bike riding home. About 10 minutes into my bike ride, I could feel another biker coming up behind me on North Galvez. It put me on guard. Suddenly, someone I did not make eye contact with, he did not have an assault rifle, jumped out in the street, started screaming, hey, 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 hey. I turned my bike on a dime onto Dumaine Street. I have no idea why the man behind me did not follow. The way the man I didn't see shot his weapon was horrifying. The man who died did not scream. The skull marked St. Anne and Galvez. The target is where I checked myself to see if I had any holes. At Magic Street, I realized I was alive and gonna survive. On that day, police wrote, Mr. De La Rosa mentioned that people moved into the apartments on either side of him and were constantly listening and talking to him. That's the song that we're constantly listening to.
I think your own country, the United States, has a very complicated relationship with guns because on one hand, it's almost perceived as a symbol of freedom protected by the Second Amendment, but on the other hand, it also created specifically American form of violence, mass shootings in schools and universities. So I wonder, where do you stand on the issue of gun control in the United States?
Well, first of all, I believe in the Second Amendment and the Constitution more than anything in the world. And I think that Adolf Hitler, for example, when he wanted to annihilate the people of Germany, the first thing he did was take away their guns. And the rights to bear arms wasn't just to protect the people from foreign invaders, it was to protect them against evil governments and anyone that would violate their inherent rights as a human being. So I believe in the Second Amendment, and I believe that, I hate to say this, a lot of these mass murders and all this funny stuff that's going on, I believe a lot of this is engineered.
If mass shootings are being engineered, why wouldn't the 200 bodies ending up in Houston Bayous not be engineered? The funny stuff going on is 40% of the cases are undetermined. Steven Seagal has insight from law enforcement point of view and is unpaid and possibly disgruntled.
And yet in the aftermath of the, I think it was Newtown shooting, you were engaged in a Connecticut program, I think, to teach children in self-defense. Do you think those skills would be helpful if they were faced with somebody who was armed to the teeth?
Well, first of all, I wasn't teaching children to defend themselves. I was teaching what's called the posse.
That posse came for me at Houston Hobby and 3 years later at Louis Armstrong International Airport on August 29, 2024. At that time, I was in email correspondence with the DOJ. Before being terrorized at the airport, I was being terrorized at the New Orleans Greyhound bus station. You can read the emails. Providing the feds with false, fictitious information can get you 5 years behind bars. But the feds can protect the criminals and make you easy to unalive. AKA no protection under law. You can read, I purchased a bus ticket in yellow, then a plane ticket in purple. Same day to the same place. Why? I had the posse/political police on my ass. 3 years earlier, same thing. Bought a bus ticket, then a flight. Same day, same place. Fuck getting harassed on a bus. That's the day I got pulled off my flight. I didn't expect that. So I continued shooting off emails to the DOJ, explaining my situation in Louis Armstrong Airport. Plainclothes cops kept piling in. They had handcuffs and were making these sounds. behind me when I let them surround me. They definitely had me shook. The black plainclothes Baton Rouge police officer sitting behind me using his handcuffs to make that sound had a red-boned son who worked in law enforcement. His son didn't bother or threaten me once. I later found out the pigs were detailed for the USC LSU football game in Vegas. They weren't all there for me, but a lot of them there were definitely terrorizing me. I eventually had to return to exile. This is my second time checking if I was still being targeted. I was. And all the findings of the investigation I was participating in were retracted eventually last year. What kind of investigation is that?